Hi, this is Tom Hoskins for Mining Journal. I'm here with Brett Heath, who's the president and CEO of Metalla, which is a leading junior precious metals focused royalty company with a portfolio of exploration, development, and producing assets across the globe. Hi, Brett. How's it going today?
Good. Thanks for having me, Tom.
No problem at all. Now, it's been a busy couple of weeks for Metalla. You had a big deal that you unveiled towards the end of November with First Majestic. Could you kick things off by telling us about the deal, please?
Sure. So this was a very exciting deal that we were able to get done. And one of the big reasons is it gives our shareholders an incredible amount of exposure to silver. Silver in the royalty business is an extremely difficult metal to get exposure to, and that's because there are so few primary silver mines around the world. There was one jurisdiction on the planet that was blessed with a lot of these really great primary silver mines. That was Mexico. First Majestic Silver spent the better part of 2 decades handpicking with what I believe is one of the best technical teams, the most prospective properties and operations within that country. And we teamed up with them. First Majestic Silver, by a little bit of background, is one of the world's leading silver producers. They're approximately about a $2.5 billion market cap. And we teamed up with them to be able to monetize basically those first almost 2 decades of work within Mexico. And as they grew their business, some of these assets became non-core, and those were the ones that we targeted along with some others. And so this transaction, it was 8 royalties in the portfolio. We acquired it for $20 million US, and with it came 1 producing royalty on La Encantada. That is going to remain one of First Majestic's core operations. It's an amazing operation. It's a silver mine with a small gold byproduct, and our royalty applies to the gold on that one. There's 4 development royalties, which these development royalties are past producing operations with decades plus of production history. They've got fully functional mill facilities at site, hundreds of millions of dollars of development with them to provide for a very short timeline back into production. And so those were very exciting because it's difficult to find such turnkey operations. And as those make their way to new owners, we believe that they'll get even more attention on the exploration side. But the deal itself also had 3 advanced exploration stage royalties, covered 175,000 hectares. So for Mexico, for this type of mine, that is just an absolute enormous land package. Again, covers the most prospective and prolific silver mining camp within Mexico. And really, a package like this doesn't exist in scale outside of a company like First Majestic. So we're very happy to team up with them. This brought our royalty portfolio to 79 royalties now. So 79 over 6 years through 30 acquisitions. And again, it gives us that substantial leverage to silver, which is very difficult to find in the royalty business.
Is the silver focus something that we can expect to see more from Metalla over the coming months, or is this just specific to this deal?
I would say it's specific to this deal particularly. It's something that we always look for, but it's very hard to find. And when we do find it, we jump on it because we think it's a critical piece, as we're a precious metals royalty company, but primarily we're just gold and silver. You'll find that even the largest silver producers in the world are actually, like, a lot of times half or even more than half gold weighted. So it's just one of those metals that can provide a huge amount of leverage. It's difficult to find in a primary fashion, and so it really worked out for us and First Majestic to team up on this. I think it was a great deal for them. They took 100% equity back in the deal. So they will become our largest shareholder at approximately 8.5% upon closing. So First Majestic, again, one of the leading mining / silver producers in the world, had a lot of faith in it. They teamed up with us. This was a joint effort to maximize the value of these assets into the future, and we're very excited about it.
Understood. Thanks, Brett. So there's been a lot of M&A activity in the sector of late. How does that play into your future strategy at Metalla?
So Tom, I couldn't have I couldn't have made up a better opportunity a year ago if you were to ask me that same question. Earlier this year, from a strategic perspective, on the transaction side of the business, we actually took a bit of a pause, and we did that because the sector, the royalty, primarily the gold and silver royalty sector, was going through and undergoing a pretty significant change. And that was led by M&A. And what we sat back and watched is we saw 9 sub 1 billion market cap royal gold and silver royalty companies. So basically our peer group, if you will, disappear, change form in the last 18 months. Now that accounts for the majority of our peer group, almost all of it, in fact. And I believe that Metalla is in such just an incredible position from a strategic perspective, because the smaller royalty companies are really too small. There's not quite enough out there for them to be able to kind of catch us. There's not a lot of big corporate portfolios left within the corporates for them to spin out and create kind of another peer competitor. And it gives us a runway that's a wide open freeway, because the next company above us, the next kind of slate of companies above us are kind of $2-3 billion. So this gives us, just from a strategic perspective, an opportunity that I never imagined would be true. And we're very excited about it. We're back in acquisition mode now with this first Majestic deal, the one kicking it off. I believe we've got a lot more very attractive, accretive acquisitions in front of us that we look forward to working on over the end of this year and the first half of next year, to continue to grow our business. And I believe we've got a pathway to see $1 billion market cap in the future for us.
So can you give us a little bit more color then about what we can expect to see in the sort of next 6 to 12 months? Do you have a particular kind of regional focus in terms of future acquisitions, or how do you map out where you're going with the company?
One thing about Metalla that I think separates us apart from the rest of the sector, peer group and larger companies, is our growth. And so Metalla, when we started our business, we took a longer term view. We believe that really great royalty businesses are created over a decade, not a couple of years. And we take more of a sniper rifle approach rather than a machine gun, just to get critical mass for critical mass. And we pick off the best of the best of the best. Now, our growth, fast forward, since we've been in business for a little over 6 years now, is on the precipice of a very significant move, meaning that we have a dozen plus different royalties on different mines. These are royalties on some of the largest mines being built in the world today by the largest operators, top 10 gold mines in Canada and the United States, and in other parts of North America that are likely, according to operator guidance, coming online in the next 1 to 5 years. And so that growth we feel is really going to catapult us forward. And the focus is going to continue to be and really infill that growth as best as we can, because we feel that is by far the biggest driver of what's going to separate us and be the significant value add. And just with the first Majestic acquisition, if you look at that on how it kind of is a value add to the rest of our portfolio, that gives us 1 immediately producing asset, and 4 very near-term production, kind of call it within 5 years from production. So that adds, a total of 1 plus another 4, so 5 potential assets that will add to that cash flow, add to that growth pipeline over the next 5 years. And we've got a lot more of that coming, I believe, over 2023.
Okay, great. Thanks. I just want to take a step back at the moment. Clearly, we're living in tumultuous times from a macro perspective. Just wondering how you see that impacting the precious metals market moving forward.
Well, and look, the precious metal sector, the gold price has been a very difficult thing to forecast. But what we see from kind of a macro perspective is that there's so much volatility. There's so much uncertainty. You've got debt levels to GDP at the highest levels that they've been in over 100 years. You've got interest rates flying. You've got volatility throughout the sector. And more importantly, like you've got a lot of uncertainty around some of the world's strongest currencies, from the US dollar to the euro to the Japanese yen and so forth. And so, we think that there's no better time to be in a metal like gold. And particularly when you're in a royalty company like Metalla, you get the liquidity. You don't have to worry about all of the storage. You get a significant amount of upside from exploration, expansion, and growth and so forth from these mining companies that are going to be putting in hundreds of millions of dollars, not to our account, so free carried, each and every year, expanding these operations, moving them into production and so forth. So we don't see a better place to hide in this economic storm that's upon us, and really that we're in the midst of, I believe. And I think that this portfolio, given the high quality nature, given the long-term approach on how we kind of built it, is really going to pay significant dividends into the future.
Okay, fantastic, Brett. Well, that is pretty much all we have time for today. So it just remains for me to thank you very much indeed for joining us today.
Thanks, Tom. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
No problem at all. So that concludes this video for Mining Journal. We will see you all again very soon. Goodbye.
Goodbye.